Hello and welcome to this free training, which is how to pass the 11 plus using the 3 steps to 11 plus mastery, which will build confidence and a love of learning at the same time. So let's get started. First of all, who is this for? If you are here, then I hope you fall into one of these categories. Parents of year 5 children, so children who are about to start year 5 or in year 5, who want their child to pass the 11 plus so that they can get into their first choice of independent or grammar school. Or you might be a parent who is worried that your child is not getting the right support at school with their 11 plus preparation. Maybe they're already in prep school, but they're not getting enough support. And you want them to reach new heights with additional support, give them that extra boost. Or maybe you're a parent who you value your child's education and you want them to build the foundations for a successful senior education with a bright future ahead of them. So you know how important it is to get these foundations and the preparation absolutely right now. You'll also be a parent who is prepared to invest the time and the energy and the effort to help your child achieve their full potential. You're also probably looking for a clear and actionable plan to help your child stay motivated and to enjoy learning en route to their 11 plus exams, which are taking place next year. So what are you going to learn during your time with me now? I won't keep you for that long, but I want to spend enough time with you so that you can find out exactly what will help your child succeed. And the 3 main steps, the 3 key steps that there are to your child's success in 11 plus are here. Okay, so you might want to write these ones down. Mindset and confidence. Now, for me, after all my years of teaching, I believe this is the absolute cornerstone, the key to success with any child. You'll learn how to create a positive growth mindset and build the confidence in your child so that they can achieve their full potential. Okay, that's the first thing. Then we're going to talk about the foundations that your child needs in order to succeed at these highly competitive exams. We're going to learn how to identify and improve knowledge gaps so that we can develop these core skills and build the 11 plus curriculum knowledge. And then once that's in place, and only once that's in place, we can accelerate and apply further knowledge. Okay, so we need to accelerate their learning, get through all of the national curriculum year 5 and 6, some of year 7 as well, before the end of year 5, and also teach children strategies and techniques to be able to excel in those exams with confidence and speed. So whilst I'm here and you're here, let's just make an agreement, okay? So if I promise to show you in this training how we can help your child succeed in the 11 plus exams, I want you to make a little promise to yourself, really, more than to me, and I want you to promise that you will take action on what I share. Now, whether that's implementing the strategies or just telling a friend or just having a conversation with your partner, with your child about how you can implement some of these strategies, that would be amazing. Okay. So now, if you're wondering why your child might look a little bit like that when homework is on the agenda of an evening, you might not be seeing the progress that you want to see in your child as they start working towards the 11 plus. You might feel frustrated because you personally don't have the time and quite often the knowledge or the patience to help. Quite often we get a lot of parents saying that the child is, oh mum, the teacher doesn't teach it like that. That's a different way. And as parents, we can be guilty of confusing our children if we try to teach them the ways that we were taught. You might have a child who is a little bit of a reluctant worker and it's just impossible to get them to complete their schoolwork, let alone enjoy it. And you may even have already tried a tutor, but it didn't make a difference. Okay, so these are some of the problems we come up against. But this is why these problems exist. Okay, number 1 is that for the 11 plus, we can't rely solely on the school teacher. Okay, for a number of reasons. Firstly, the national curriculum, as I mentioned, the national curriculum simply doesn't cover the skills and the concepts that your child needs in order to be able to pass the 11 plus. They don't cover them in enough detail, and they don't cover them soon enough. So the exams are in the first term, so they're at the beginning of year 6 for grammar schools, and in November, end of the first term, beginning of January for the independent schools, which is often before these concepts and skills are taught in school. Okay, so that's the first reason. Secondly, teachers have a lot of children in their classroom, and they can't give your child the focus and the attention that they need. Okay. Thirdly, they don't go into enough detail. They don't go into enough depth with these concepts. Okay, some of the concepts are quite tricky, and children need to be able to problem solve and to apply their knowledge in detail and in depth with huge skill, and that takes practice and specific training, and that you won't get in a classroom. Secondly, another problem that might be causing a bit of a roadblock for your child for this 11 plus preparation is that they're doing it alone. Okay, now a lone wolf is less motivated, less successful. Okay, if a child doesn't know why they're doing it and doesn't have a team around them to bounce ideas off, to learn from mistakes, and to feel like they are normal, to feel like they belong in a group, then they will not put 100% effort in. They don't understand that this is what they're working towards. Okay, you can see here there's a team, it's a little football team, I think, and children respond to peer groups. That's why they all thrive in the classroom, and why they thrive in group tuition. And finally, one of the major problems that may be holding your child back is the reliance on workbooks and homework at home. Again, this ties in a little bit with being by themselves on this journey, but it could be the blind leading the blind. If you don't know what your child's strengths and weaknesses are, then how do you know which areas to focus on? Okay, and how do you know what the exams are going to actually include? So working through workbooks it's okay up to a point, and it's certainly a valuable part of preparation for these exams, but it's not possible to complete full preparation for these exams without a little bit more in-depth knowledge and specific targeted teaching and learning. So just a little bit about me, because you're probably wondering who I am and why I'm talk to you about this topic. So my name's Marion. I've been a qualified teacher for well over 20 years now, and during that time I have taught thousands of children from age 4 all the way up to common entrance into private schools at 13 plus. But I've done a lot of teaching in that time in year 5 and 6, year 4, 5 and 6 actually, key stage 2, teaching children maths and English to 11 plus. Okay, I was head of one of the top London prep schools, which actually prepared children for 11 plus into some of the most competitive independent schools in the country. So I've helped a lot of children achieve their first choice of school. Okay, since I left the classroom, I have set up the homework helpline, which provides expert tutoring for children between the ages of 5 and 13, or actually we go up to GCSE now as well. And we are all specialist teachers in all areas of the curriculum, but specifically in 11 plus preparation, including interview skills for independent schools, because as I say, that's a lot of my background is in independent school preparation. Okay, so I hope that reassures you a little bit. And this is just a little bit of a, this little slide just shows you a little bit about what some of the previous parents say about the tutoring that they've had with me. Okay, so I'll just give you a moment to read those. But I think what stands out with all of my pupils, and what I really hope they feel, and so far they do, they're successful, but they also feel that their child's confidence has improved hugely. Okay, there's one there that says, Marion always made me feel good about myself. And in the 11 plus exam maths was her highest score. Okay, so I hope to make children feel comfortable and enjoy their lessons and at the end of the day feel confident enough to go out there, give it a go and succeed. So without further ado, let's get on to what my whole system of 11 plus mastery, the 3 steps to 11 plus mastery. Within 11 plus mastery, we have to have confidence in order to have success. Okay, I alluded to that earlier. And what I've worked out over 20 years in the classroom is that in order to achieve this goal of success, whatever that might look like for you, whether that looks like enjoyment of a subject, whether that looks like self-confidence, or whether that looks like passing an exam, we have to have these 3 aspects in place. Okay, we have to have the environment, habits, and strategy. And I'm going to come to those individually now. So I hope you've got that pen and paper. Let's get going on the first one, which is mindset and confidence. Okay, this is the first step to success. So how do we improve a child's mindset and confidence? So almost every child that I work with struggles with a lack of confidence at some point during their 11 plus preparation. Okay. This then results in them losing focus and giving up and feeling rather overwhelmed, and they believe that they won't pass and that they won't succeed. Now, as you might imagine, if you believe that you won't pass and you won't succeed, then that tends to come to, it's a vicious circle, isn't it? Because if you think you're rubbish and then you don't want to try, and then if you don't try, you don't improve. And so you end up going round and round. So building this confidence is absolutely crucial, like me in baking cakes. So I'll tell you about that. What children need and what I work with children on is their growth mindset. Okay, this happens through discussion and through communication with the child, and both in one-to-one and in groups. And when you have a positive mindset, you can start to build that confidence. Okay, the 2 go hand in hand, mindset and confidence. And I've just said, just like the Great British Bake Off, confidence is half the battle. Now, I often use the analogy with children of baking a cake, because if I think I'm rubbish at baking cakes, which I still think I am, and I tell them that, a lot of children will say, oh no, you're not rubbish at baking cakes. So they very sweetly want to boost your confidence. But I think I am rubbish at baking cakes. Now, in order to overcome that, I could keep practicing. I could read the instructions more carefully. I could spend a little bit more time perfecting each part of that cake making process. I could make sure that my oven is set at the right temperature. I could improve my cake baking. And then I will feel more confident and I'll want to do it more. Okay. Or I could just give up and say, I'm rubbish at that. I'm never going to try that again. And I ask the children to think about which one I should do. And they always say, well, you should try again and see if you can do it better. Okay. So absolutely right. I should try again. And then I do it better and I get more confident. I grow my confidence. I definitely have a go. I get better and better until eventually every Sunday I wake up and say, yes, brilliant. I love baking. That's what I'm going to do this weekend. And so that's how I relate it to children. So the second step to success is those firm foundations. Okay. Sorry if you can hear a noise of a dog scratching. Now, the firm foundations are, well, every sort of step is vital. Okay, so this is the next really important part. And schools have a curriculum which they need to follow, which means that they have to do things in a restrictive order and at a certain speed and cover certain things at a certain time during your child's time at school. Okay, and the fact is, and it is a fact, is that most schools do not cover the curriculum topics needed for the 11 plus. They might cover them in year 6, but that's too late because the exams are at the beginning of year 6. Okay, and they might not even cover them then. They might, some of the topics actually creep into some year 7 stuff as well. And secondly, the pandemic meant that a lot of children who are now in year 5 had some of those basics way back at the beginning of primary school, that some of those key skills are just lacking. They're not there. There are learning gaps that are impacting their learning now in fractions, in basic arithmetic, in words, like word classes, in vocabulary, in reading skills. All of these things could have been learnt back then, but haven't been. Okay, so it's like trying to do a jigsaw with only half the pieces and no picture of what it should be. We have to go back, we have to get the picture, we have to make sure we've got all the pieces, and then we can start putting them all together. Does that make sense? What children need is to revise those core skills and use these foundations on which to build their 11 plus curriculum knowledge. I'll come to my building analogy in a minute, but test papers, if you give a child a test paper without preparation and without practice and without some really clear, good confidence building teaching early on, then they'll find it completely inaccessible and will set those children up to fail. Okay, so building confidence at this stage is key to success later on. If you try and build a house without making sure that those foundations are absolutely in place, then when you come to put the doors and the windows in, it'll all be a bit skew-whiff. Okay, so we need to make sure that there aren't any gaps in the walls, that the foundations are absolutely rock solid before we start to go and put those doors and windows and roofs on. The third step is to accelerate and apply. Now, this is where we take the general primary curriculum and we take it that step further into 11 plus territory. Okay, as I've said before, schools simply don't teach the necessary concepts and skills in time for the entrance exams. It all has to be done before the end of year 5 so that you can spend that time through the summer, end of the summer term and through the holidays practicing those papers. Okay, so you have to get through the curriculum well before the end of year 5. Also, they're often taught a concept, but not in enough depth or detail to be able to confidently, accurately answer an 11 plus exam question. These are challenging exams with some really quite in-depth questions that require a problem-solving skill or a writing skill that is way beyond that of a standard year 5 national curriculum child. Okay, and we know that information without implementation leads to frustration. So if you're constantly learning and learning and learning, but you're never implementing it, and you're never testing yourself, and you're never finding out where you're going wrong and then working on those weaknesses, then you can't build and grow those skills. Okay, it's like trying to lose weight and never checking the scales. If you've got no idea about the success of the work you're putting in, then you won't know where to focus your energy and your learning. Okay, so exam technique and practicing papers are a vital step to mastery. So that's the application part of the accelerate and apply. We accelerate the children through so that they cover all the syllabus, and then we apply it to exams so that they feel confident walking into that exam room in September, November, January, whenever their exam is. Okay, so these are what we call performance indicators. We often come across those in life, but this is real. For the case of 11 plus, we do this with real life testing and applying our concepts and skills to the exam style questions that they'll face further down the line. This helps to build confidence and experience, but as I say, it continues to it identifies the weaknesses so that when the time comes, the child knows what they have to do in the exam. Okay, so it's a bit like this mad bloke that jumps into ice cold swimming pools or lakes, and but because he's been exposed to it before, it's not as daunting, it's not as terrifying, and it's not such a challenge. That's the whole sort of point of exposure with children coming up to exams, is to get them used to the idea, and so we give them the confidence to go in and do it for real. So the mindset and confidence is the first step. Remember the chocolate cake, the baking analogy, that you have to give it a go. You have to try to improve. You have to identify your weaknesses and improve, okay? And that builds confidence, and confidence builds success. You then have to build the firm foundations and make sure that some of their learning from earlier years is absolutely rock solid, which means revisiting and revising some of those topics before we can accelerate and apply our knowledge and start to practice those exams in the right lane, at the right speed, at the right time for success in those exams. Okay, so here's a few more of those previous students who've had success, and as I say, I've been teaching for quite a long time and specialise in independent schools, but also have a lot of grammar school success as well. So that's just some of what our parents say. There's a lot more on the website. So there we go. I hope that helps, and you're now sort of more equipped to support your child. Thank you very much for staying with me until the end. I hope you remember that it would be amazing if you could at least talk to your child about these 3 steps to success, and how that might look for them. And if you're interested in having a chat, then let's have a chat and build a roadmap to mastery, for you, then see what that looks for your child in particular. And if it makes sense, we can even talk about what it would be like to work together, but only if we think that that's a good fit for your son or daughter. Okie dokie. So at the end of the day, there are 3 choices in life. You can guess your way through life, you can work your way through life, or you can use a proven framework. Now, what this means is that these are sort of 3 approaches to the 11 plus. You can kind of go in blindly, and I do see parents do this, sort of have a go, buy a few books, check on Facebook groups and things like that, have a go. You can also then equip yourself with all the knowledge you need, which will take time and effort and money, and then you can buy all the books and you can do all the teaching yourself, which is absolutely, it does work, but it's a lot of time and effort and investment, and you might not get it right. Or you can use a proven framework, which is calling on a professional who's done this before and knows how to help your child succeed. Okay, now this is just a little bit of fun really, but it just sort of shows you that Michael Jordan, Jeff Bezos and Steven Spielberg, all well-known people, all highly successful gentlemen, and they all follow coaches and frameworks and plans to get them where they are. Michael Jordan's a sportsman. Jeff Bezos is an incredibly successful, he's the Amazon guy, and then Steven Spielberg, the film guy. All of them follow a framework. They know where they're going, they plan it out, they ask professionals, and they get help. Okay, so if you would like to jump on a call with me, I'm offering a free call for anybody who would like to have a conversation about their son or daughter, just to give you some advice and to see what a sort of roadmap to mastery might look like for your child. I've called it a success session. It's just a chat. So book a call in, and I look forward to seeing you soon. Okay, thank you.